Welcome to Manifesting History. Today we'll journey through two of America's most iconic and infamous historical settings. Salem and Sleepy Hollow have both left an indelible mark on the realm of the supernatural. In this video, we'll embark on explorations of these historic towns, unearthing the eerie legends and uncanny happenings that have defined their mysterious reputations. Join us as we step into a world where the past and paranormal intertwine and where the line between reality and the supernatural blurs in the most unexpected ways. If you're ready, let's manifest the dark past of Salem and Sleepy Hollow. Salem, Massachusetts, founded in 1626, plays a significant role in American history. It's most famous for the Salem witch trials of 1692, where 20 people were executed for alleged witchcraft. In the 18th century, Salem prospered as a trading port. Today, it's known for its maritime heritage, historic architecture, and Halloween tourism. It is to be expected that a place with such a dark past would harbor a plethora of ghosts. In Salem, you can find the Old Burying Point Cemetery, the second oldest cemetery in the country, established in 1637. This cemetery holds great historical significance, and among its notable residents is John Hawthorne, a judge from the Salem witch trials who remained unapologetic for his role. Interestingly, John Hawthorne is the great-great-grandfather of the renowned writer Nathaniel Hawthorne, who even altered the spelling of his last name to distance himself from his ancestors' actions. Old Burying Point Cemetery is the resting place for many figures associated with the Salem witch trials, including a memorial for the wrongfully accused and the graves of their accusers. It offers a glimpse into a time when the line between the wicked and the innocent was blurred. Other notable individuals buried here include the Mayflower passenger Captain Richard Moore and the last governor of the Massachusetts Bay Colony, Simon Bradstreet. The cemetery's history is embedded with supernatural tales, particularly due to the witch trials era. Over nearly 4 centuries, there have been numerous ghost encounters and unexplained phenomena reported. Many attribute these hauntings to the lingering spirits of the past, making Old Burying Point one of the most haunted sites in Massachusetts and perhaps all of New England. Visitors to Old Burying Point have described overwhelming feelings of sadness and despair, and there have been claims of capturing electronic voice phenomena and strange apparitions in photographs, such as lights, orbs, and white mists, and even shadow people. One notable ghost is Mary Bright Corey, the second wife of Giles Corey, who was executed by hanging during the witch trials. Another apparition is a lady in white, frequently seen but elusive to capture in photographs. There are also stories of a woman and a young boy believed to be mother and son who died in a fire, often appearing in the cemetery. If you're ever in Salem and visit Old Burying Point Cemetery, make sure to have your camera handy and see if you can capture one of the many spirits that are said to still roam. A 400-year-old structure known as the Witch House stands on Essex Street in Salem's historic district and serves as a living testament to the witch trials of 1692. It is the sole surviving structure with direct connections to the trials, making it historically significant. Purchased in 1675 by George Jonathan Corwin, who played a key role in the witch trials, the Witch House also harbors an eerie legend known as the Corwin's Curse. Judge Jonathan Corwin presided over the execution of 19 individuals charged with witchcraft. The history of the Witch House's construction begins in the early 17th century and was completed by Jonathan Corwin in 1675. It was later remodeled, adding fireplaces and other improvements. The house's association with witch trials was further marked by Daniel Andrews, the remodeler who himself faced accusations of witchcraft. Between 1684 and 1690, the witch house became a site of sorrow. Jonathan and Elizabeth Corwin welcomed 5 children into the world, but tragically all met an early end. John, born in 1684, passed away at the tender age of 9 weeks. Margaret Corwin, born in 1685, succumbed at 6 months. Anna Corwin, born in 1687, outlived her siblings, but faced a premature death at the age of 19. The family's woes continued with the loss of Jonathan Corwin Jr. at just 3 months, and Herbert at a mere 8 weeks, all by 1690. The family seemed cursed before the witch trials even began, which may have something to do with Judge Corwin's cruelty during the trials, blaming his own misfortunes on the sinister deeds of witches around him. Although Jonathan and Elizabeth Corwin resided in the home until 1717, their son, Reverend George Corwin, took over its management. However, his tenure was cut short by his own untimely death due to fever in November 1717. His wife also succumbed in 1718, and the same fever claimed Jonathan and Elizabeth. This left George Jr. and Samuel, 2 young boys, as the sole heirs to the Corwin legacy. Samuel later chronicled the family's misfortunes in a journal, describing death as an unrelenting evening of mankind that had wreaked havoc among his kin. While the Corwin estate crumbled, the witch house endured. Local legends also speak of the ghost of Giles Corey appearing at his gravesite on Howard Street Cemetery just before a catastrophe strikes Salem. Accounts from the Great Salem Fire of 1914 tell of a mysterious figure seen near the Corey grave on the eve of the disaster. Whether the curse holds truth or remains a legend, the legacy of Giles Corey endures in Salem. Over the years, the witch house underwent various renovations and changes in architectural style. Historic Salem's preservation efforts saved the house from demolition and restored it to its 17th century appearance. It has been open to the public since 1948. The witch house is not only known for its historical significance, but also for its rumored hauntings. Considering the amount of Corwin family members that have perished within this house, it's easy to believe that their spirits have lingered. The sounds of children running and giggling have been reported, as well as crying. Visitors have reported hearing disembodied voices and feeling ghostly chills. The house, now a museum, also contains items like a black shoe, witch bottles, and a poppet, which were used for superstitious practices. It is believed that these objects may be contributing to the hauntings. The witch house bears witness to the Salem witch trials and the role played by Judge Corwin. The Corwin curse and the tragic events associated with the house serve as a reminder of the injustices of that era. Proctors Ledge, formerly known as the Hanging Hill of the Salem witch trials, witnessed significant suffering. It was the site of the execution of 19 accused individuals, and their bodies were left in a nearby crevice. The true identity of Proctors Ledge as the execution site wasn't established until January 2016, as it was initially confused with Gallows Hill. This confusion is understandable given its unassuming location between Proctor Street and Pope Street. Unlike Gallows Hill, Proctors Ledge lacks the dramatic setting associated with hangings, yet its history raises intriguing questions. In 1692, the village of Essex County, Massachusetts, became infamous for America's deadliest witch hunt, with over 200 accusations and 19 executions. Notable figures like Sarah Good, Elizabeth Howe, Susanna Martin, Rebecca Nurse, and Sarah Wilds were among the first to be hanged at Proctors Ledge, accused of witchcraft based on evidence, or so-called evidence. Witchcraft accusations were a convenient scapegoat during the period of witch hysteria, leading to unfounded trials, false testimonies, and the execution of innocent people. The accused protested their innocence but were hanged without fair trial, with their bodies callously left in what was called the crevice. The question of whether Proctors Ledge holds human remains remains a subject of debate. Some argue that it may contain the remains of the executed, while others suggest it was a temporary and unintentional burial site, with the bodies later being relocated by loved ones. Regardless of the location's role in the burial, it's possible that the deceased spirits are connected to the site. Local legend speaks of paranormal encounters, including sightings of a lady in white, disembodied voices, and the presence of cold spots and incandescent orbs. The name Proctors Ledge could be attributed to John Proctor, one of the accused, or his grandson, who later owned the land. John Proctor was executed on August 1692 for his skepticism about witchcraft and accusations against the so-called afflicted girls. However, he is only convicted after the execution of his sister-in-law, Rebecca Nurse, and his third wife, Elizabeth. His trial featured allegations of assault and coercion against him, despite neighbors vouching for his character. To memorialize the tragedy at Proctors Ledge, a memorial was established in 2017. The memorial, consisting of a semicircular scene surrounded by stone, was dedicated on July 19, 2017, the 325th anniversary of the first execution. The Turner Ingersol mansion, also known as the House of Seven Gables, is reputably one of Salem's most haunted homes. With its striking Gothic cross-gabled and dark wooden exterior, it might seem plucked from a grim fairy tale. Today, the mansion operates as a museum and event venue, offering visitors insights into the life of the Salem-born author Nathaniel Hawthorne, who stayed as a house guest with his cousin who inhabited the House of Seven Gables. Before Nathaniel Hawthorne's The House of Seven Gables in 1851, there was John Turner, the son of an indentured servant who immigrated from England. Despite his father's humble beginnings under a system that entailed years of servitude, John Turner quickly rose to prominence in Salem, Massachusetts. Initially, he operated as a hat and shoe merchant and had acquired enough wealth by 1668 to build a new house. This house became the famous House of Seven Gables. The original structure was simple, comprising just 2 rooms and 2.5 stories. However, Turner expanded beyond hat and shoe sales into Salem's maritime sector, becoming a sea captain and amassing a substantial wealth. By the time he passed away in 1742, he stood among the wealthiest individuals in the Massachusetts Bay Colony. Nevertheless, despite his prosperity, the third generation of Turners encountered financial woes, leading to the sale of the family home in 1782. Upon John Turner's departure, Sea Captain Samuel Ingersol purchased the Turner House, which had significantly expanded from its original 2-room layout. Ingersol decided to further enhance the residence. He replaced the gables with intricate Victorian architectural elements, transforming the Turner House into the Turner Ingersol Mansion. During Samuel Ingersol's tenure, his daughter Susanna frequently invited her cousin Nathaniel Hawthorne to the mansion. In 1851, Hawthorne published The House of Seven Gables, a novel centered on his family and their dispute with Philip English, whose wife had been condemned to death for witchcraft by Judge Hawthorne. In the book, the Pickman family, allegedly cursed due to their connection to the witch trials, faces a curse delivered by a man who was unjustly accused of witchcraft. The Pickmans face a series of misfortunes, including the death of Judge Pickman, who chokes on his own blood during a dinner at the house. As a result, the Mull family regains their land and all is set right. This was Nathaniel Hawthorne's way of making up for his family's dark past. The presence of ghosts at the House of Seven Gables is a matter of dispute depending on who you consult. While tour guides and employees typically assert that the mansion isn't haunted, local legends and some visitors tell a different story. Throughout the years, reports of apparitions at the mansion have persisted. Visitors have reported sightings of a young ghostly boy playing in the attic, with laughter and footsteps heard throughout the day. The attic once served as a servant's quarters, leading to speculation that the spirit might be that of a former servant. The ghost of Susanna Ingersol, Nathaniel Hawthorne's cousin, is also said to roam the mansion, walking its halls and peering out windows at those entering the garden below. Eerie, sinister, and witch-like are some words that can be used to depict the historical architecture found in Salem, and the Pickman House is a prime example of this. Located just a few feet away from the Peabody Essex Museum, this house stands as a haunting example of colonial architecture. With its gray wooden facade and opaque diamond-paned windows, the Pickman House exudes a spine-chilling atmosphere. The 5 window casements encircle a faded scarlet door with an antique handle that appears as if it's been there since the house's inception. Constructed in 1665 by Samuel Pickman, a sailor, the house reflects the maritime heritage of Salem during that era. The house sits next to Old Burying Point Cemetery. Although Salem is rife with tales of witches and ghosts, the Pickman House is said to be home to a demon. According to legend, in the 18th century, a family of 3 had moved into the home, a husband, a wife, and a 7-year-old daughter. Upon moving into the Pickman House, the man's mental health rapidly began to decline. He claimed that a demon was visiting him in the night, and he was waking up more and more irritable each morning. He would have violent outbursts. He chained his own daughter up in the attic. He murdered his wife by pouring boiling wax on her and then hung himself. The daughter starved to death in the attic. In 1983, the Peabody Essex Museum acquired the house to preserve its historical significance. Visitors and employees of the museum claim to hear cries and screams in the house. The spirit of a young girl is the most frequently encountered ghost. Visitors and museum employees have reported eerie phenomena from disembodied voices to ghostly apparitions captured in photographs. In Salem, there exists a single house that is whispered about in hushed tones and met with uneasy glances, the Joshua Ward House. The 18th century Federal-style mansion located on Washington Street, the building is now the Merchant Luxury Hotel. The Ward House was built on the land where George Corwin's house once stood. The Corwin curse was not only limited to the witch house with Judge Jonathan Corwin, but continued unto his nephew George Corwin, who was a sheriff during the Salem witch trials. This version of the curse stems back to one man, Giles Corey. In 1692, Giles, a Salem farmer, and his wife Martha faced witchcraft accusations. Martha was found guilty and hanged. Giles, who refused to enter a plea, was subjected to a gruesome ordeal, lying beneath a board while heavy stones were piled on him. Sheriff George Corwin oversaw this torture, intended to force Corey into a plea. Over 2 days, Giles withstood the sheriff's relentless pressing, repeatedly responding with more weight. On September 19th, Giles perished without a plea, leaving his estate to his sons instead of the government. Some versions claim he used his last words to curse the sheriff in Salem, leading to a series of mysterious deaths, illnesses in the Corwin household and kin in the years that followed. But the position of sheriff seemed to be cursed as well. In 1978, Salem Sheriff Robert E. Cahill was compelled to retire due to a rare blood condition and heart problems. While researching the department's history, he uncovered a chilling pattern. Every sheriff since Corwin had experienced heart or blood-related issues dating back as far as records went. It's debated whether the curse was broken when the sheriff's office relocated from Salem to Middleton in 1991. Reports of objects flying off shelves, ghostly cries of a child, and an eerie sensation of invisible hands tightening around one's neck are just a few of the unsettling experiences reported. The happenings are said to be produced by 3 separate spirits. The first one likes to throw things off shelves and produce cold spots throughout the house. The second spirit is a dark-haired female figure that was captured in a Polaroid photo during a holiday party back when the space was an office. The third spirit is believed to be the ghost of the infamous sheriff that facilitated the crushing of Giles Corey, George Corwin. Visitors have described sensations of choking and strangulation while on the 2nd floor, which some attribute to Corwin's cruel actions during the witch trials. Would you be brave enough to stay the night in the Joshua Ward House? Located on Essex Street, this white colonial and asymmetrically designed 2-story house with beautiful gables might seem familiar as it was featured in Disney's Hocus Pocus. However, this 18th century home has a much darker and spookier history beyond the movie set. The Ropes Mansion was built in the late 1720s by Samuel Bernard, a merchant who moved to Salem from Deerfield, Massachusetts. He led a prosperous life in Salem Village with a series of marriages. Bernard had 4 wives during his lifetime, each meeting a different fate. The first, Mary, passed away while the couple lived in Deerfield. Rachel, the second wife, died in Salem Village in 1743. Bernard married Elizabeth Williams, who also met her end in 1753. Bernard's 4th wife, Catherine, outlived her husband and resided in the Ropes Mansion until Bernard's death in 1762. In 1768, Judge Nathaniel Ropes acquired the house from Samuel Bernard's nephew. Ropes, though a Harvard graduate and successful attorney, held loyalist views during the time when colonial sentiment against the British crown was growing. This led to tension and untimely attack on the Ropes mansion by colonial protesters in 1774. Nathaniel Ropes, who was sick with smallpox, died soon after the attack at the age of 47. In 1839, tragedy struck the Ropes mansion again when Nathaniel's daughter Abigail Ropes met a gruesome end. The legend suggests that Abigail died after her dress caught fire. The Ropes mansion has experienced multiple fires throughout its history. In 2009, a fire severely damaged the mansion, but most of its artifacts were saved. The cause remains disputed, with some even suggesting that Abigail's spirit may have played a role. Visitors to the Ropes mansion have reported hearing the anguished screams of Abigail, and some claim to have seen her ghost. Nathaniel Ropes is also said to haunt the house alongside her. The mansion's garden is also rumored to be haunted. Visitors have reported feeling a chilling touch or hearing disembodied voices. Since its establishment in 1925, the Hawthorne Hotel has gained worldwide recognition for its charm and, of course, its spectral inhabitants. Travelocity honored it as the fourth most haunted hotel in the U.S. in 2007. The Hawthorne's history extends back to its early identity as the Franklin Building in 1809. This building was a hub of activity in Salem's central business district, housing various businesses and apartments. However, it faced multiple devastating fires before being reconstructed in 1864. The hotel gained fame in the 1960s when the TV show Bewitched was filmed in Salem. Elizabeth Montgomery and Dick York, stars of the show, stayed at the Hawthorne. There are several spirits said to haunt the hotel. Bridget Bishop, the first woman executed in the witchcraft trials, was rumored to have owned an apple orchard where the hotel now stands. Numerous guests claim to have encountered her spirit within the hotel. On the 6th floor near room 612, a ghostly woman often hovers above the ground and occasionally wanders the hallway. Guests in room 612 have reported feeling her presence with them. Room 325 on the 3rd floor has experienced unexplained phenomena like a crying baby, flickering lights, and faucets turning on and off. Visitors near these rooms have felt eerie sensations and heard ghostly voices. Some even detect the scent of apples, possibly connecting to Bridget's orchard. The hotel's restaurant, The Tavern, features a ship wheel that mysteriously moves, seemingly guided by a Salem sea captain. The Hawthorne Hotel consistently has reports of furniture moving, strange sounds, and ghostly sightings, earning its reputation as one of America's most haunted hotels. Take a journey down the Hudson and join us in the picturesque village in New York, Sleepy Hollow. It's steeped in both history and legend. With its enchanting landscapes and haunting tales, it has become a place where the past and the paranormal converge, making it a captivating destination for those seeking a blend of beauty and mystery. Major Andre was the ill-fated companion of Benedict Arnold and a fellow spy during the American Revolutionary War. His mission was to deliver West Point plans to the British, and it ended tragically when he was captured and subsequently hanged. This grim execution took place beneath a tree in Tarrytown, right down from Sleepy Hollow, which later suffered a dramatic lightning strike, leaving an enduring legend. It is believed that Major Andre's restless spirit continues to haunt the very grounds where this treachery came to light. Reports of Andre's ghostly presence include sightings of a shapeless gray shadow swiftly passing near the swamp adjacent to the highway. Some claim to have heard the word "halt" being uttered, accompanying the sound of phantom galloping. All witnesses agree that the hoofbeats cease suddenly, never venturing south of the imposing old tulip tree known as Andre's tree. Before Washington Irving gave life to the chilling legend of the Headless Horseman, it's possible he drew inspiration from the tales of the Headless Hessian, a menacing figure from the Revolutionary War era rumored to haunt Westchester County. As the stories go, the Hessian was a source of terror, known for attacking unsuspected locals in the early days of the Hudson Valley. One chilling account from that time tells of a sober and careful citizen who, while returning home from a distant saloon in clear moonlight, found himself suddenly dragged onto a bridge by invisible hands. He He was then flung over the high parapet into the waters below. Despite his best efforts, he was unable to reach shore and had to be rescued. The legend of the Hessian has since transformed into the infamous Headless Horseman, a character that still sends shivers down the spines of those who read the legend of Sleepy Hollow. An apparition in Sleepy Hollow, known to haunt the eerie Raven Rock, a rugged glacial formation so named due to its attraction of somber ravens, is a spectral woman in white. This ghost has two distinct origin stories. In the first, she's depicted as a desperate single mother collecting firewood to warm her cottage before an impending blizzard. Unfortunately, she was caught off guard and perished, huddled beneath the jagged walls of Raven Rock. The second tale suggests she was a young girl planning to elope with a British officer. She arrived at the rock in her wedding attire on the appointed day, but her suitor never appeared. Instead, a blizzard engulfed the area, yet she steadfastly clung to the appointment until her tragic demise. Regardless of the version, the so-called Lady in White emits mournful cries prior to severe snowstorms and has been sighted in Sleepy Hollow since the colonial era. These two mystical towns of Salem and Sleepy Hollow, shrouded in history and folklore, continue to beckon those who are drawn to the enigmatic and unexplained. In Salem, the echoes of the witch trials serve as a somber reminder of a dark chapter in American history, while Sleepy Hollow's tales of a headless horseman and ghostly apparitions leave us with an eerie fascination. As we bid farewell to these captivating places, we encourage you to explore them for yourself, uncover the legend, and perhaps experience a glimpse of the paranormal. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video, and please give it a like if you did, and subscribe to catch the next week's video. Until next time, happy hauntings!